Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how I make what I consider one of my most important teaching tools, the double pencil bow, which is what I use when I'm teaching the bow hold, introducing it to my cello and bass players. I use pencils, of course, for my violins and violas too, but for them I just take a single pencil and that's all I really need to do. There's no process involved with that. But I do use a double pencil when I'm teaching my low string students. As you can see, there's nothing particularly fancy about this, which is great for me. I just happen to not be one of those teachers who does a lot of crafty things, making things, gluing, sewing. That's just really not my style, but this is something that I can do because it's just wrapping a couple of rubber bands, and I've also found that it's very worthwhile in terms of introducing the bow. So this is the final product. I'll just quickly show you a couple of things. I'm intentional about where I put the rubber bands. The first one you see is about maybe 1.5 inches or 2 from the eraser here, and then the second one is roughly about halfway into the stick. There's a reason I kind of want them off to this side and fairly close together. But here we go, we're gonna make them. It's pretty simple. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Ingredients are very easy. 2 number 2 pencils. Notice how there's nothing fancy about these. They're the cheap ones I just picked up at Target just a little bit ago. I don't need to get the expensive ones. What is important though is that you get the old-fashioned style that has the 6 sides to the shaft. So the hexagonal shaft, and that's going to be important when we're transferring the bow hold later on to the actual bow. So again, just 2 plain old number 2 pencils. Notice that they are not sharpened. This is important if you were like me and end up putting these in your pocket. You don't want to poke yourself. And then I also have 2 rubber bands, what I would consider typical size rubber bands. I'm not a rubber band expert, so maybe there's something special about describing this sizes. But anyway, this is all I need. So to put them together, very simple. Just hold the 2 pencils together. I take my rubber band, first one here, and I will go ahead and kind of clasp it here with my thumb while I start my wrapping. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I want these erasers as even as I can get them. All right, so here we go. Get it a couple of inches here, and then I'll start my wrapping. And it's going to end up being about a dozen or so wraps around. And just notice that I'm doing this with my non-dominant hand. Interesting. I'm going to switch it up just so this goes a little faster for us here. As I said, I am not a crafty person, and you might be seeing why at this point. All right, so that's the first one. Even out those erasers again and kind of compensate there. All right, good. And now I take the second one. I never look forward to doing the second one because, again, I want to have the rubber band about halfway through, so it means I have to go a long way to get the different rounds, the different laps there, but there we go. I end up doing about a dozen or so wraps around the stick. The idea is I just want to get it to where it's clearly set in place where I want it without having a whole lot of slack at the remainder of the band here, and that's not going to go anymore, so we'll just leave it right there. That's just fine. And this is my double pencil bow.